Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to my booth. I'm Jay. You know what that means. It's subscriber feedback. We got Matt here, and Matt's curious about the DBX 286S channel strip and if his processing is up to snuff. I'll talk about what that is in a moment for those of you who don't know. We'll cover that, and then we'll talk about performance stuff after the fact and dig into it. Before we get to that, if you'd like me to review your audio, there's a form in the description. It's free. Send me something. We do this every Thursday. If you want to jump the queue and go right towards the front, you can check out the Booth Buddies down below. It's a channel membership here, supports these efforts, and gives you priority feedback to access to feedback like this. There's also coaching on my website if that's more your speed. Matt, let's do this thing. I'll stop and start a little bit. We're going to listen to just a little bit, and I'll talk about the processing. And then we can, what was I going to say? Talk about performance.
On the set of The Cowboys in 1971, the cast and crew gathered for a pivotal scene. Roscoe Lee Brown, cast as the dignified Cook Nightlinger, was about to deliver a powerful monologue to the group of young cowboys.
Cool. Okay. So pausing to talk about the DBX 286S. So this isn't what it looks like, but I'm pulling it up as a visual representation of something similar. A channel strip is a hardware device that you plug your microphone into, and it processes your audio in a variety or number of ways, including compression, which the DBX has, as well as EQ. The DBX has a de-esser, gating, and things like that. So it looks a little bit like this, allows you to turn the knobs and refine your audio as it's going into your recording software rather than having to do everything in post. So I'll leave a link to the actual device down in the description for anybody who's interested in checking it out. But Matt, overall, I think your processing here sounds pretty good. Now, a little caveat to the things I'm about to say, it's a little hard for me to specifically diagnose or give advice or guidance on your settings without hearing a before and after or raw audio and then processed audio, so we can hear how aggressive you're being with certain settings and things like that. But I'll do my best to pick things apart and talk about what I think you're doing well and what maybe you can pull back on. So my philosophy on audio processing in general regarding VoiceOver is we're not trying to change our voice. We're not trying to take us from sounding like a dweeby guy to some, we're not trying to make our voice sound better or different in any way. We're just trying to remove all of the things in our recordings that aren't us. Our voice is great as it is, and that's our biggest selling point. And if we try to modulate it too much, it's not doing us any favors. So all to say, in terms of the processing in general, and with what I think you are doing and could maybe improve upon a bit, Matt, is we want the audio processing or effects that we're applying to our audio to be essentially invisible. We don't want it to be present in a big way. And right now, I think you're riding the line between it being pretty presently processed and just neutrally processed, if that makes sense. So my recommendation would be on all of the settings that you have on there, with the exception of maybe the de-esser, because I don't hear at first glance too many issues with that. But just take all of the knobs and notch them back one or two and see how that sounds. Because right now it sounds fine and good, but it does sound processed to me. So on your EQs, just notch them back a couple. On your compressor, maybe dial it back just a smidge. And the de-esser may be okay, but the gate, if you're using the gate in your DBX, that's something where you're really going to want to pull it back. Because right now, the gate is the one thing here that I can really hear doing more than it needs to. I'll talk about specific instances on that as we continue to listen, but generally those are my notes, and if you want more specific feedback on how we can dial that in for you, you can do a quick feedback on my website or something like that. The one section here that really illustrates the gait is this one here. So let's give that a quick listen.
And every eye turned to him except for a few onlookers who muttered under their breath.
So at the end here, the breath, the TH is getting cut off. You can see it here in the recording, how it just ends right there, and then it's dead silence. And the ends of phrases are the biggest point in which you'll hear that over-processing, particularly with gaits or expanders. And so on the gate, this is the type of sound that you can listen for and pull back your gate settings, either lower the threshold or increase the release. I don't think the DBX has either of those necessarily. Maybe it does. I can't remember. But pull that back a smidge and extend the release, and that will give you more tail here to work with and allow your breath to fully finish before the gate comes in and starts to do its job. Additionally, there's this little bit right in the middle of this phrase where the gate starts to enter early, just right here.
To him, except for a few.
As you say, except the gate starts to come in, and we hear this little bit of a pumping artifact.
Turned to him, except for a few onlookers.
And it's really, really subtle. If your ear isn't trained for it, it may be challenging to hear. But that sort of thing is helpful to listen for as well. On the DBX, the gate will have a series of LEDs. I believe it's a red for closed, yellow for closing, and a green for open. If you see it as you're talking in the middle of a phrase dip into yellow, then your gate is too aggressive and you can pull it back on the settings there. That would either be extending the release or lowering the threshold. To illustrate that further, let's pull open this gate here. And so this would be the threshold on the device. And right now, if I've got a fast release, it'll give really aggressive stuff if we take a listen to what that does. So this is a really high threshold, comedically high, comically high, and a really sillily, overly fast release.
And every eye turned to him except for a few onlookers who muttered.
So that's the sort of exacerbated pumping artifact. But if I lower the threshold really far and extend the release a fair amount, it stops being that way.
And every eye turned to him except for a few onlookers who muttered under their breath.
I just realized this, but if we look at the waveform on this thing, let me pull open one that's a little bit cleaner. Wait, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to need to use the gate still. If we look at this waveform, you can see here, so the way this window works, it's showing the amplitude of your audio, so how loud it is at any given moment. So here your speech is going up and then the gate kicks in, but you can see here that your gate is coming in the middle of a phrase because it's dropping all the way down to minus infinity in the middle of a phrase.
His voice was rich, commanding, and every eye turned to him.
So the fact that after "and" it drops all the way to 0 so quickly leads me to believe that you just need to lower your gate. But that's just another visual way to show how that's happening.
Him except for a few on.
And you can see except how it dips down to negative infinity there, meaning there's nothing coming through. So just turn your gate up a fair amount, or if you're comfortable, turn it off. And then you'll be right as rain on that front. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about performance while we have the time. So all in all, I think you're doing a pretty good job of delivering the information in general. This first phrase I thought was interesting, and it's important. This is a helpful thing to look at because the beginning phrase of any piece of media, but particularly audiobooks, I find. It's helpful to slow down on the first phrase because you're introducing us to a lot of stuff. You're introducing us to the world, a lot of information, and this phrase is no different. So let's take another listen and break down all the stuff that we're being introduced to.
On the set of The Cowboys in 1971, the cast and crew.
So we've got on the set of The Cowboys in 1961, the cast and crew. So we've got a place, a date, and a bunch of people. And right now, we're cruising through that in one single phrase without any breaks for my brain to pick it apart. And it's not overwhelming in the sense that it's like blowing my brain up in a way, but it helps us if instead of on the set of The Cowboys in 1972, on 1952, the cast and crew, on the set of The Cowboys, this is the film, on the set of The Cowboys. Okay, we're on a film set in 1952. Oh, okay, now I start to get pictures of the era and Hollywood in that time. Great. The cast and crew. Now I see all of the people gathered around. So by separating those three sort of sub-images from this introductory sentence, simply by slowing down a little bit and giving a little bit of a beat between each of them, it allows me, the listener, to follow a little bit more easily and get settled into the things. So just to read it again in a fluid way, on the set of The Cowboys in 1952, the cast and crew. And another way you can think about that, I've said this before, but it bears repeating. It's really helpful in nonfiction. You can think of ideas or sentences as sort of a musical staff in a way. And so as you perform the sentence, if your middle tone or projection is this note and there's two notes above and two notes below. You can put as many as you want, but I'm just saying two for the sake of it. If it's the main sentence here is on the set of The Cowboys, the cast and crew, that could be the full sentence, but there's a qualifier or a somewhat parenthetical in 1952. And I bring that down or you can bring it up. So on the set of The Cowboys in 1952, the cast and crew. So I go up for that middle bit of information and then back to my main lane, I guess you could call it, or the main note for this sentence. And that can help to delineate different aspects of information for the listener in a purely technical way. By just taking things and raising them a bit, I can help to delineate certain bits of information for the listener if they need it. And that can help to just break things up in an audible way for folks. There was one interesting section here. So for the sake of time, the case that we're listening to here is there's a character played by a black man in this film, and it being 1950s Hollywood, that's an event for these people. And so there's a bit of suspension and tension on set at this time. And these three phrases are people, behaving in the way that one would expect people to have behaved in a negative way in the 1950s. But here's what they have to say.
Doesn't fit Hollywood's image. Standing next to John Wayne seems out of place.
So with those whispers, you're doing kind of a stage whispery type thing. I forgot to bring this back. You're doing kind of like a stage whispery kind of thing. And there's a difference here between even if you're whispering in a way, you want to still be on voice. And what that means is you still want your vocal cords to be phonating. So the difference would be, instead of this first place...
Doesn't fit Hollywood's image.
Doesn't fit Hollywood's image. Because it's not on voice, it sounds very airy, and we're getting a lot of rasp, and it becomes somewhat difficult to parse out what exactly is being said. Particularly Hollywood becomes difficult to hear at first blush. And so the difference would be, instead of, doesn't fit Hollywood's image. We can do doesn't fit Hollywood's image. And there's still vocal production happening, doesn't fit Hollywood's image. And it's still a whisper, but because I'm on voice, it has, I don't know how to say it better than this, but it sounds better, for whatever that's worth. So for these whispery moments, just shifting them a little bit and from this sort of phrase to this sort of phrase. And if you still want to have it being out. So even if I'm whispering to someone, I still need to whisper across space to somebody. Doesn't fit Hollywood's image. If that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense or not. I feel like my brain shut down towards the end there and I stopped being able to make coherent arguments. But I hope this was helpful for you, Matt. And for everybody else, if you're interested in checking out the DBX 286S, it's down below, not a sponsored thing, but I'm just providing a link to it for people to check out. Until the next one of these, everybody, I'll see you there and be well. Toodles.